Carolina Panthers, they benched the number one overall pick from just a year and a half ago, Bryce Young. He started 18 games. Dave Canales announcing the move on Monday. They'll go to Andy Dalton now. And obviously, this one has a wide-ranging impact. And the question would be, why so soon? Why are you doing it 2 games into the Dave Canales era? And as best I can tell, this comes down to whether or not you can still sell a player to the locker room. And after talking to some people on the other side, guys who've coached for the teams that the Panthers lost to the first 2 weeks, they lost to the Panthers this week, they lost to the Saints in week one. What they're seeing is a player who's playing with absolutely no confidence at this point. There's an issue with his ability to see over the middle of the field, which of course relates to his height. That impacts how a defense is going to game plan you. It also shows up in the way he's handling the pass rush. And yes, the Panthers have had some issues protecting him, but really the kiss of death for a quarterback is when he starts looking at the rush, when his eyes drop. And that's something that both the Chargers and the Saints have seen, is a quarterback who is looking at the rush as pass plays are going on, which of course is about a guy trying to protect himself, a guy who maybe doesn't want to get hit anymore. And in fairness to Bryce Young, a huge part of this is, there's a limit to how much a guy can be hit. And once he's hit a certain amount, that can affect what he's looking at after the ball is snapped. But once you have a guy at that position, at the quarterback position, who starts looking at the rush, it becomes really, really difficult for that guy to be functional out there anymore. And I think that's the point the Panthers are at just 2 weeks into the season with Bryce Young. So why do they have to make the move? They have to make the move because he's become that much harder to sell to the rest of the locker room. Because here's the deal. The rest of your locker room doesn't care about your 3-year plan. The rest of the locker room doesn't care that you gave up 2 first-round picks and DJ Moore to move up and go and draft Bryce Young with the first overall pick. They don't care about the organizational investment. What they care about is what you're doing for them right now. Because the cold reality of the NFL is 80 to 90% of the guys in every single locker room in the league do not know where they're playing next year. In most cases, their contracts are not guaranteed past this year. And so what they care about is the here and the now. And that means what's going to help them win right now, what's going to help them succeed on an individual basis right now, which ultimately will help determine whether or not they can continue in the NFL and how much they'll get paid to do it. So for the rest of those guys, the other 10 guys in the huddle, the other 52 guys in the locker room, the coach has to be able to sell the starting quarterback to them. And I think based on what I've heard again from the teams that have played against Dave Canales' Panthers, they're seeing a quarterback who is operating back there without a very high level of confidence at all. And so they go to Andy Dalton now. Now, the next question would be, will Young get back in the lineup in week 6, in week 8, in week 10? And certainly there's the possibility that that could happen. But if Andy Dalton plays well, if the Panthers start to turn it around, the chances of that become slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. So this has been taken out of Bryce Young's hands. And if the Panthers start to play well behind Andy Dalton, there is a chance that we don't see Bryce Young. Because right now, the important thing for Dave Canales is to continue to sell his program, to get guys believing. And even if they're not winning, start to play more competitively. The score's been 50-3 in the first half of the first 2 games. That means entering the second half, they've been down 30-3. They've been down 20-0. I mean, in the third quarter of these games, there's not much hope, let alone the final moments. So to continue to build the program there the way that they want to, Dave Canales has got to do things that are going to keep the team believing that they are on the right path. And right now, getting on that right path does not include Bryce Young.